Welcome back to the Children's Miracle Network Radiothon from Gunderson Health System. I'm Sam from Midwest Family, and with me is Matt and Kim and Jeff. Hi, guys.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Oh, no, thank you for coming. And we also have a phone bank manned by Logistics Health. And if you could keep them busy, that'd be super. The number is 608-784-KIDS. 608-784-5437. You can also go online if you're sitting at your computer, and I know you are. You can go to aroundrivercity.com where you can also watch the live feed of this interview. So let's begin at the beginning. Kim, tell me about how it started.
Sure. So Matt is 13 years old, actually almost 14.
Wow.
Yep, coming up next month. He was born with Down syndrome, which for anyone who doesn't know, it just means he has an extra chromosome. So you and I have 46, Matt has 47. And that chromosome is what causes the typical features that people are familiar with Down syndrome. So we were told right away that the doctors suspected he had Down syndrome, but he was doing okay initially when he was born. So we went home. Unfortunately, we had to come back to the hospital about 10 days later. He just wasn't eating, sleeping way too much. So we were in the hospital about 5 days. And then he had a tube in his nose, an NG tube, during that time. But he did start taking some food through his mouth before we left. So we were able to get sent back home after 5 days in the hospital. 2 months later, we were back in the hospital because he contracted RSV. And that was almost more of a being born at the wrong time of year type thing. And he just needed some extra support with some oxygen in the hospital. So that was another 5-day stay for us. And that was those 2 hospital stays were our first experiences with CMN, Children's Miracle Network. So I was with him the whole time. I never left the hospital for either stay. And the nurses would just bring in these wonderful meal vouchers, which I'm sure you've been hearing about today, and said, go get yourself something to eat, and it was not optional. It was, here's your meal voucher, go get yourself something to eat. And I listened. And, when Jeff and our older 2 kids, who were young at the time, when they'd come to visit, they would just come in and say, well, is your family here? How many vouchers do you need? Not a question of, do you want this? Is how many are we bringing you? And that was just priceless. I mean, when you're in the hospital with a newborn and you don't really know this is all new. No one expects to be in the hospital after they have a baby. Just having that nice, okay, you don't have to worry about eating. And you don't have to worry about paying for eating even when you're in the hospital for a multiple day stay.
Yeah, because that can add up.
It sure does. So that was our first experience with them. Fast forward a couple years, we're home. Matt has delays with large motor skills. So he wasn't walking yet at age 2. He didn't walk till he was 3. And he had a little walker, and we did lots of therapies for him. And between ages 2 and 3, I had learned of a newer service for the La Crosse area called music therapy. And I thought, well, this sounds intriguing. I read a little bit about it and thought I would love to do this for Matt. But the cost was prohibitive. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. We just had one income. And
not something insurance covers either.
Insurance does not cover it. Nope. And I think of music therapy as rolling up physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and education all into one package with music and instruments. I mentioned it at a doctor visit, and they brought in the social worker for Children's Miracle Network. And, she said, we don't usually, that's something we've never funded before. But, sorry, Matt. Why don't you go ahead and fill out the grant application? We'll take it to the board and see what they say. And lo and behold, they funded it. And he was the first person to get a grant for music therapy. And my understanding is that's kind of a routine thing now that they fund. So I'm pretty proud of that we kind of blazed
Paved
the
the
trail.
way, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And you noticed it helped right away.
Absolutely. Yeah, they would. Oh, Matthew. Sorry. I'm bonking my kid on his head here. They would motivate him to walk across the room to get to an instrument. Because he was not super motivated to walk. If there was an easier way to do it, he would definitely do that. But he would walk to get over to a drum to play. They would motivate him to do some of these OT things like crossing arms back and forth, to grab instruments, to vocalize because his speech is delayed. That would be a way to get him to sing or to even learn through songs. He practices my cell phone number in a song with his music therapist, which he continues with music therapy to this day. And as he's grown, the skills that they work on have grown with him. So he works on signs in the community, safety signs, walk, don't walk, stop, my cell phone. Feelings. They've started working on feelings recently, about here's how do you feel when you're a little nervous? Here's some coping skills you can do. And they're so creative. And it's just awesome that CMN will fund that for people who may not have any other options for that because...
well, and it really adds to the quality of the whole experience for everybody.
Exactly. Yep. So that was a big one that CMN helped with, was the music therapy. Probably the other really big one that they helped with was several years ago with a bike. And I don't know do you want to take this one, Jeff, or do you want me to keep talking? Okay.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
I said I'd try
Sure.
to include him.
So we've gotten him walking
No,
across
just
the
go
room
ahead.
and
No.
now a bike.
So yeah, Kim had worked. She was working weekends, and there's times when it's hard for Dad to figure out what to do. And so we like to go biking. And at first, when he was just a little bitty guy, we would have a trailer that I pulled
Sure.
behind the bike. And he would promptly fall asleep inside of there. But at one point then we wanted to have him have more of an active role in our biking. And so CMN helped us purchase what kind of, it's a tag along. It hooks up to my bike, and it has 2 wheels and a seat and pedals, so Matt can actually pedal and help out as much as he can.
Yeah, picture a tag along like you would just buy wherever, but with a trike behind it,
Oh,
and
sure.
then with a back on the seat
Back
and
and
a
sides.
seat belt to make him
nice.
feel more comfortable. Because one thing with Matt is he doesn't really like feeling off balance. He gets a little nervous. So
I'm with ya.
Yep, getting on just that bike seat is kind of a big deal, but this gives him a lot more security. He feels a lot more comfortable doing that, and he's able to be upright, actively participating. But the thing with the bike is that it's adaptive, and once you add adaptive to something, you can quadruple the price for
Yep,
sure.
up and
if
up and up.
Not even more than that. So it was out of our price range to just go out and purchase for him. So again, we went to CMN and asked, and
Yeah, works really,
Yeah.
really good.
And he gets out and all of you can go.
yeah.
Yes.
So he can participate fully in the bike rides with the families, go on the area trails, and and be upright and pedaling and getting some exercise too.
I'm just going to throw this out there right now. If you would like to help another family with things like this, call 608-784-5437. This is the Children's Miracle Network Radiothon. And many thanks to our sponsors, Mark Jewelers and Stanek Electric, along with Cooley Region Mobility, Team Marine Services, Ultra Federal Credit Union, and Oral Surgery of La Crosse, and those lovely people on the phone. I hear a phone chirping. That's Logistics Health Incorporated, and they are answering our phones, and I would like them all to be busy. 608-784-5437. 5437. So it is a donation of any size would be fabulous. You've heard how important just the meal vouchers are, and then how important the other things are, like music therapy or horse sense for special riders, or any of those other therapies, going to camp, or adaptive, anything you have that's adaptive. It goes right there to people in our community. So yay, hooray.
Yeah, I think Matt is just a really good example of how CMN is there for literally any age, any stage, a lot of different conditions that are happening. They were there when we were in the hospital in an acute sickness time, and then they were there when we just had a need at home, something that could enrich his life, or the therapy that could help, also enrich his life. I don't know of too many organizations like that will follow you that long and be with you for such a wide variety of conditions. Matt has benefited as well from the child life specialists at Gunderson.
Yes, and those are funded through Children's.
Yep.
What do they do? What did they do for Matt?
Well, they play with you, don't they, Matt? So he's had to have a lot of minor procedures over the course of his life, like ear tubes and an eye surgery, some ankle surgeries, sleep study. Actually, he had to have a hole in his heart closed, which
doesn't
seems
seem
so
very
silly
minor.
to call it minor, but it was an outpatient procedure. Crazy, I know. So he's had a lot of different procedures, and those child life specialists are there to just help keep him settled down and distracted when they're getting him ready. They have to hook him up to the wires, or if they have to do an IV, or they even came in once he had to have a CT scan for part of the eye surgery. He had to go into the little donut thing, and we thought we were going to have to sedate him, but with the child life specialist there, she had an iPad with some games and was interacting with him, and he was perfect.
Oh, wonderful.
And that's what their training is how to really work individually with each child and find out what their interests are to help those procedures go as smoothly as possible and take a load of stress off the families, because you're trying to keep your kid calm and still.
And you're trying to be calm
right.
and still accept all the information from
hear what a
all of
doctor
the
or nurse
people
is
are
saying.
telling you while it's a lot of juggling.
Yeah. So the child life specialists have really been awesome, and that's another way that we've just benefited many, many times over the years with them. And I guess I always throw out there too, they remodeled the pediatric specialties department, and it's so cool. It's fun. It's a place that you might actually want to go if you have to go to the doctor, and that was funded by CMN too, or they assisted with that. And many kids, anybody who has to go to pediatric specialties now gets to benefit from that they helped with at the clinic.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So again, 608-784-5437 to make your donation, which stays here locally for the Children's Miracle Network. Now, music, I'm pretty fond of music myself, and I know that it can make a lot of connections with people that language can't.
Mm-hmm.
How did Matt decide Christmas music was his favorite?
That is an excellent question, and I don't know the answer to
That's
that.
fine.
Matt, what's your favorite kind of music?
This is the Halloween.
Oh,
That's
Halloween.
Christmas time,
Halloween.
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 Mm-hmm.
Does he have a favorite? Does Matt have a favorite Christmas song?
Matt, do you have a favorite Christmas song? So Matt doesn't he will verbalize, but it's hard to understand what he's saying. So he has an iPad that he will talk with. Santa.
Santa.
So you said you like Santa. Do you have a favorite Christmas song? Where are your Christmas songs? What is your favorite?
Joy to the world, killed a 3-dog night.
Joy to the World, 3-Dog Night version.
There you
That
go.
was-
There you go, Jeremiah.
You are funny. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are. Although I like that song too.
Yeah,
I'm
he
I'm
knows
very
them all.
Yep.
You know, and it's funny, when he was born we're still in the hospital, a good friend of mine came to visit and she said, he is always going to love Christmas. And I don't know if she just predicted that, how she knew
Huh.
that, but she nailed that on the head. And
Mom.
you do love Christmas, don't you? Yeah, Santa says, you be good.
Mom.
Yep, me too.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I don't know, Matt.
So the thing with
The world killed a three-dog night.
the thing with
see
music
that.
therapy. So all these years I've been
should
taking
go
Matt
out of this
to
one.
music therapy. So there's other school and therapy that he struggles with behavior wise, but the thing about music therapy is it always seems to engage him so much more precisely, and we don't see those kind of behaviors whenever we pick him up from music therapy. So
Nice.
it's definitely an awesome thing
Yeah, he's really
for a
good at
nonverbal kid like Matt.
he's really good at trying to get out of doing things. And so
Oh, sure.
he's got tricks up his sleeve.
Like most 13,
As to-
14-year-olds.
Yeah, how to get away with things, but he doesn't try it so much at music because that just really connects. And I just really think music changes your brain and
Oh, it does.
helps you remember and learn things that would be maybe not attainable in a different way to do
I
that.
think I totally agree with that, most
Mhm.
certainly. And I think it's wonderful that Children's Miracle Network has used the first experience with music therapy as a guide for future other families to benefit from that. That's pretty awesome.
Right, because back then it was, it was new to our area, not well recognized. So, they were they took a chance. They didn't know exactly, is this experimental? Is this just a play group? Music time. So they took a chance, and I think they do see the benefit.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know, for sure.
For sure. What else would you like to say about either Matt or Children's Miracle Network?
Well, clearly he likes to be silly.
Yeah.
He's just getting ready for Halloween.
Absolutely.
We're all
Matt,
right.
what are you going to be for Halloween?
Spider-Man.
I
There
see
it
that he
is.
almost has a Spider-Man shirt on underneath. That's
he
very
does.
simple,
Yeah.
similar to a Spider-Man
Yeah.
shirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You like Spidey, don't you?
Ah.
Yep. He's just really, I think he's really enjoyed being the hero this year and
Has that
part
been
of
a good
last year.
experience? Yes.
He has.
What
Yep.
is? What have you all enjoyed about the year or two?
Yeah, it's been different because of everything being different, obviously. But just I just enjoy spreading awareness about Children's Miracle Network and how much it's helped us, because I don't think people necessarily realize that it does just affect people that you might not realize. I think prior to having Matt, I might have thought, I'd hear the Radiothon and hear the sad stories and think, that's for the kids in the hospital who are really sick. And it isn't. It is, but it isn't only for kids with
Yes.
medically complex issues. It's for the kid who needs a little boost. It's for, a temporary hospital stay. And there's a very good chance you either know someone now who's been touched by Children's Miracle Network, or you will know someone in the future. And everything stays local, like you said, with your donations, so it's going to a very good cause. So that's what I've enjoyed, and I think Matt just he's enjoyed painting his Christmas card.
Nice.
Didn't ya? And handing out his business cards, I think,
Oh,
was pretty
perfect.
fun. He was,
Mommy.
yeah, you were pretty proud of those business cards, weren't you?
Ma.
Yeah.
And a lovely photo
Yes.
graces our wall right now.
The photo shoots were very fun.
I bet they were.
Yeah.
Children's
Yeah.
Miracle Network Radiothon. We're at Gunderson Health System, and we're looking for you to make a donation of any amount, because it does help people that you know, friends, family, children in our area. You can do it a bunch of different ways. It's relatively painless. So you can, if you're more comfortable on your phone, text CMN Kids, all smashed together, to 51555. That's the way my kids would do it. If you would like to speak to someone, like our volunteers from Logistics Health Incorporated, that's a nice way to do it. You'll notice this is a local phone number, 608-784-KIDS, which is 608-784-5437. Or if you happen to be watching this on your computer, you know, you have us up in the corner at aroundrivercity.com. You can make your donation that way. The Children's Miracle Network Radiothon will be back in a couple of minutes from Gunderson Health System. I'm Sam from Midwest Family.